I have a question for you this morning about a friend who is very resistant to you. And she's really struggling. She's working 2 jobs. She has financial problems. She has family problems. I've said to her that the biggest gift that I would like to give her is Abraham, if she would just listen. And she's perfectly happy with her Catholicism. Is there a conflict between Catholicism and Abraham?
Let's see. There does not have to be, but that way of going about life, as many ways of going about life, comes from the premise that you are flawed when you are not. And it comes from the premise that if you don't hold yourself back from evil natural impulses, that you will be swept up in a negative world and end up ultimately in a negative place forevermore, where the reality of it is that you are pure positive energy, you are well-being personified, and you're always expanding and striving for the completion of that expansion. So there is so much about most religion that is crossways of who you really are. Even so, we would never say to anyone, your approach for life is inappropriate, because in every case there was something about it that was compelling to them. For example, something this simple: I am here in my body and I want to be good, and I've been told that if I keep these rules I will be considered good, and so I'm keeping those rules and I feel good. That's alignment. But where it goes wrong, if there is wrong, and there isn't, where it becomes uncomfortable is when you say, I see these rules, I want to be good, and I see these rules, and I believe that if I keep these rules then I will be good, but my natural impulses have kept me from keeping those rules, and so now under these guidelines I am bad. And as we said earlier, anytime you find any reason whatsoever to condemn yourself, you separate yourself from your source. So those feelings of guilt that they feel are symptoms of not allowing themselves alignment with who they really are. You see, think about what negative emotion is. Negative emotion is me in my physical body thinking a thought and activating the vibration within me that disallows the fullness of who I am to fill me. Now, if my inner being agreed with me about how bad I am, my inner being would come over here with me and I wouldn't feel the void. We like to say to people, often they're talking about karma or religion or keeping the rules or righteousness, and we say, if you are living life in a way and you feel bad about it and you call it guilt, that guilt is your visceral sensation of you thinking a thought that your inner being is not thinking. So if your inner being will not even join you in one negative thought, then what are the odds of you being sent back in order to fix something that was broken last time? Now, Catholicism doesn't believe that. In other words, they believe that you've got basically one shot at it. And when you get here, the rules are rigid and you'd better line up pretty quick. And what they're not counting on is the leading edge spirit that's coming forth in gay abandon, hitting the ground running and saying, I am perfect as I am and becoming more perfect in every moment. Yes, we would say that there are some differences between what we know and Catholicism.
Thank you.
Now, If you have a friend, here is what we always say to people. Sometimes a husband will refer to his wife, or a brother to his sister, or children to their parents. In other words, there are so many people that are becoming aligned with who they are, and now they wish it so much for people that they love. And we always say to them, see your friend, look for the parts of their life that are working, and activate the parts of their life that are working in you. Because if you look at what's working for them, and that's what's most active in you, then you are like a satellite beamed version of their inner being calling them forward, you see. But if you, and they really teach it to you because people really complain about what's not working. If they get you through their commentary and through their example of life, if they get you fixated upon their broken life, then they hold you in this terrible trap because they are complaining about life not working. You know what they could do to make it work better, but they're not having any of that because they're so caught up in the complaining part of it. And so it's frustrating to you because you want to be there for them, but you can't be there for them any more than their inner being is being there for them. And we say, if their inner being isn't going to go there with them, why should you? Then we say, write them in your book. Put their name at the top of the page and say, dear troubled friend, what is it about you that I'm thinking that is making me feel this way? What are my upstream thoughts about you? And identify what they are. And then say, are there any downstream thoughts that I have about you? Is there anything about you that when I think it, I come into alignment with my inner being? Because when you take the time to come into alignment with your inner being, you take the time to come into alignment with their inner being. And when you and your inner being are in alignment with their inner being, you're a more powerful force to reckon with. In other words, you're all calling this person now. You're calling them toward their perfection, toward their love of self, toward their well-being. Now you are tuned in to the best parts of them, which means law of attraction is showing you the best parts of them. We say even in raising, especially in the rearing of children or in the mentoring of anyone, if you fixate on the parts of them that you feel the best when you focus upon them, then you will activate the parts of them that they feel best about, and that's the kind of relationship that will begin to happen. And then they will say things to you. You've heard this all your life. They will say things to you like, I feel good when I'm around you. Esther said, I used to get happy just driving past Jerry's house. He was an uplifter. She could feel the vibration of him. She had no idea what it meant. She only knew that it was a compelling feeling. It felt good when she focused there, you see. So it's not the easiest thing in the world to see someone differently than they are predominantly offering. But you can do it. And that's what true upliftment is.
I'll work on it. Thank you.
And one last thing. Never, ever, ever, ever push against anyone's religion.
Okay.
Because those are very deep. It's like, don't push against their parents either. They hate them, but don't push against them. In other words, if you join forces in pushing against something, then you render yourself powerless. And now you're just two disconnected people sort of mucking around together. So don't try to identify what is at the root of their problem. It's not that.
Okay.
It isn't.
I got it. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.